The night on the colony planet was colder than Alex had expected. The streets were filled with scattered lights from neon signs and flickering advertisements, but the glow didn't reach the alleys, where shadows stretched like dark rivers. Trash floated past on the occasional gust of wind, carrying the smell of burned fuel and stale food. Alex wrapped his coat tighter and walked quickly, hoping to get home before the night got any colder. That's when he saw her. She crouched near the corner of the alley, huddled against the wall, her body trembling. Her skin caught what little light existed and shimmered faintly, like soft reflections on water. Alex stopped for a moment, unsure if he should approach. She was clearly alien, tall, slender, with markings that glowed faintly, but something in her posture spoke more about hunger and exhaustion than threat. "Hey," Alex said softly, trying not to startle her. "Are you okay?" The alien, because there was no other word for her, lifted her head. Her eyes were large and unusual, with a mix of colors that shifted like sunlight on water. She studied him carefully, suspicion in every glance. She didn't speak at first, only made a soft clicking sound, almost like a purr. Alex stepped closer, holding out his hand but not touching her. "I'm not going to hurt you. Do you want some food?" Her ears, or what looked like ears, twitched and she tilted her head. She seemed confused. Hunger, though, was more powerful than fear. Slowly, she moved toward him cautiously, like a predator testing the air. Alex reached into his coat and pulled out a small package of ration bars. "Here," he said. "You need to eat." She took the food with careful fingers, examining it first, then bit into it quickly. Alex watched her, fascinated. She wasn't human, but her need for food was exactly the same. Her eyes closed briefly as she chewed, and when she looked up at him again, there was a faint glow in her expression, like a spark of trust. "I'm Alex," he said. "What's your name?" The alien hesitated. She clicked her tongue softly, then tried a word she had clearly learned, though her pronunciation was strange. "Lyra," Alex nodded. "Okay, Lyra, come with me. You can rest at my place." She froze for a moment. Her species clearly had reasons to distrust humans, and Alex didn't blame her. But hunger and cold were powerful motivators. Slowly, she nodded. Alex led her through the empty streets, careful to avoid attention. The colony was not a dangerous place generally, but stray gangs and scavengers were always a problem, and an alien like Lyra would attract more than casual curiosity. When they reached his small home, cluttered with tools, old machinery, and stacks of spare parts, Alex gestured inside. "Here, warm, safe." Lyra hesitated at the threshold, eyes wide, taking in the human home. The walls were lined with shelves filled with gadgets, and the smell of warm metal and food made her ears twitch. Finally, she stepped inside, glancing around cautiously. Alex led her to a small cot. "You can rest here. I'll get you some water." She nodded again, and Alex could see a faint glow of relief in her eyes. He moved to the small kitchen area and filled a glass. Returning, he handed it to her. Lyra took it with careful hands, her glowing fingers brushing against his briefly, a spark of warmth passing between them. While she drank, Alex studied her. Her skin shimmered softly in the dim light, almost like the surface of a calm lake at night. Her hands were delicate but strong, and he noticed faint patterns across her arms and shoulders that seemed almost alive. Something about her was extraordinary, but Alex didn't fully understand what. "You're safe here," he said. "No one's going to hurt you." Lyra's eyes met his, a mixture of gratitude and wariness. She didn't speak, only tilted her head and made another soft clicking sound. Alex smiled. Communication would take time, but he was patient. Over the next hour, Lyra rested while Alex worked on small repairs around his home. He couldn't help but notice subtle things. Objects would shift slightly when she was near. Small lights would flicker as if responding to her presence. He thought he was imagining it at first, but then a small tool lifted off the table slightly and hovered for a moment before dropping. His jaw tightened. This was no ordinary alien. Before he could investigate further, a loud noise outside startled him. He rushed to the door and peeked through the window. A group of scavengers had noticed Lyra's presence and were approaching. Alex's heart raced. They were armed and dangerous, but more than that, Lyra was vulnerable. He had to protect her. He stepped back and whispered, "Lyra, stay quiet." She seemed to understand. Her body tensed, and then, almost instinctively, a faint glow spread from her hands. The lights in the room flickered violently and objects trembled as if alive. When the scavengers reached his door and tried to force it open, they stepped back in shock. The glow from Lyra's body bathed the doorway, and they could see shapes moving in the shadows that weren't really there. Fear spread across their faces, and they ran, leaving the street empty again. Alex's mind raced. "What did you just do?" he asked, staring at her in disbelief. Lyra's chest rose and fell quickly. She seemed exhausted but also alert. She clicked softly as if trying to explain. Alex shook his head, realizing he wouldn't understand fully yet. "You're stronger than I thought," he said finally, "and different. But that's okay. You're safe here." For the rest of the night, Alex stayed awake, watching over her while she rested. He realized that his life had changed in a single evening. He had gone from helping a hungry, homeless alien to being part of something extraordinary. Lyra woke several times, looking around cautiously. Each time, Alex reassured her with a calm voice and small gestures. Slowly, she began to trust him. By morning, she could sit up and speak a few words in human language. "Food, water, safe," she said, her voice melodic but strange. Alex smiled. "Good, you're learning fast. I'll get you some breakfast, okay?" As he prepared simple rations, Alex thought about the night's events. This alien was clearly on the run from someone or something. Her species had powers beyond human understanding, and now she had chosen to trust him. A soft knock at the door startled them. Alex went to check, but there was no one there. Only a small package left on the doorstep. Inside there were several items, some alien tools and a small device that pulsed with light. Alex examined them carefully. Lyra's eyes widened when she saw the items. She clicked excitedly, pointing at them. "They're mine," she said. Alex nodded slowly. "Then we keep them safe." They spent the day talking, sharing what little language they could. Alex learned that her name was Lyra, that she came from a distant system, and that her people had been displaced by war. She had fled, seeking safety, and somehow ended up on his planet. By evening, a bond had begun to form between them, not just of trust, but of curiosity and respect. Alex realized that helping her had changed him too. He saw humanity differently now, capable of empathy and courage in ways he hadn't imagined. As night fell again, the danger of scavengers lingered in his mind. But for now they were safe. Lyra rested in the small cot, her bioluminescent patterns glowing softly, filling the room with a calm light. Alex sat nearby, keeping watch, knowing that tomorrow would bring more challenges but also more opportunities. And deep down, he knew that this was only the beginning. Lyra had chosen to trust him, and that choice would change both their lives forever. Outside, the cold wind blew through the empty streets, carrying the promise of a larger universe, full of dangers, wonders, and discoveries. Inside, a human and an alien sat together in quiet understanding, bound by circumstance and the first flickers of friendship that neither of them had expected. By the time the first light of morning crept through the small window, Alex felt a strange sense of hope. He had gone out that night expecting nothing more than a simple walk home. Instead, he had found someone extraordinary, someone who would challenge everything he knew about the universe and about himself. Lyra stirred in her cot, opening her glowing eyes and giving him a small, trusting smile. Alex returned it, silently promising that he would protect her no matter what. The scavengers were gone. For now. But Alex knew this was only the beginning of a story far larger than either of them, and together, they would face it. The morning light stretched across the small apartment, glinting off Lyra's faintly glowing skin. Alex had already prepared a simple breakfast, and he watched as she cautiously approached the table. She seemed smaller now, more fragile, yet there was an inner strength in the way she moved. "Here," Alex said, placing a small plate in front of her. "Eat slowly. You need energy." Lyra tilted her head, studied the food, and then nodded. Her fingers, delicate and glowing, wrapped around the utensils as she tasted each bite carefully. Alex watched her, thinking about how extraordinary it was to share such a normal moment with someone so alien. "You know," Alex began, "you don't have to be afraid here. I won't let anyone hurt you." She looked up at him, her eyes wide and expressive. She clicked softly, then said, "Trust. Hard, but safe?" Alex smiled. "Yes, safe." Over the next few hours, they talked as best they could. Lyra could speak a little human language, but she often used clicks and gestures to describe things that had no human words. Alex found himself fascinated not just by her appearance, but by her perspective. She saw the world differently, noticing patterns, colors, and movements that humans often overlooked. "I think," Alex said slowly, "you're not just any alien. You have abilities." Lyra's glow pulsed slightly at his words. She nodded, hesitant but unafraid. "Protect must." "Dangerous." Alex's brow furrowed. "Dangerous? Who? Why?" Lyra made a series of clicks and gestures that he didn't fully understand. She pointed to herself, then made a sweeping motion toward the sky and finally a gesture that suggested pursuit. Alex realized that her people or some force were chasing her. Before he could ask more, a sudden noise outside the door startled them. Alex moved instinctively to the window and peered out. Figures moved stealthily in the street, well-armed, advanced, and clearly not ordinary scavengers. His heart pounded. "They're coming," Lyra said quietly. Her voice was calm, but there was tension in her body. Alex's mind raced. "We need a plan. You stay here. I'll handle it." Lyra shook her head, her glow brightening slightly. "Together, stronger." "Together." Alex paused, then nodded. She was right. Alone, he was human, vulnerable. With her, they had a chance. They moved quickly. Alex grabbed tools, spare wires, and pieces of machinery. Lyra focused, her glow pulsing as she subtly manipulated the environment. Small objects hovered, lights flickered, and the apartment seemed to shift with their combined energy. The pursuers reached the door and attempted to force it open. Alex and Lyra were ready. With a nod from her, Lyra extended her hands and a soft barrier of light formed, shimmering and bending the intruder's vision. Alex moved swiftly, activating devices that created loud noises and distractions. The figures paused, confused and frustrated. Alex realized that they relied on technology and intimidation, but they were unprepared for someone with ingenuity and an alien companion with powers beyond comprehension. "Now," Alex whispered. Lyra released a wave of energy that made the lights flicker violently. The intruder stumbled back, disoriented. Alex seized the moment, locking doors and creating obstacles from furniture and tools. The pursuers finally retreated, disappearing into the night. Alex exhaled heavily, leaning against the wall. That it was close. Lyra's glow dimmed as she sat down, exhausted. "Safe now," she said softly. Alex nodded. "For now. But they'll be back if they know where you are. We need to think bigger." Over the next few days, Alex and Lyra prepared. They repaired old machinery, created safe hiding spots, and studied maps of the city to find escape routes. Through this, their bond grew stronger. They shared meals, stories, and quiet moments of laughter. Lyra began mimicking human gestures, learning small habits, while Alex learned to understand her subtle forms of communication. One evening, as they looked out over the city from the roof, Lyra spoke softly. "Alex, why help?" "Human risk?" Alex shrugged. "I don't know exactly. I guess I believe in helping others. You needed help, and I wanted to." Lyra's glow pulsed gently. She nodded, understanding more than words could express. "Trust humans. Good, strong." Their quiet moment was interrupted by a sudden vibration beneath their feet. Alex's heart skipped. They found us again. Outside, sleek black ships descended silently. These were no scavengers, these were highly advanced pursuers. They had tracked Lyra across star systems. Alex realized they had little time. "Lyra, we need to move." "Now," he said urgently. She nodded, her glow intensifying. Together they moved through hidden tunnels Alex had prepared, avoiding cameras and sensors. Lyra's abilities helped them remain undetected, manipulating light and sound to create illusions. Alex's mind worked rapidly, thinking of every possible obstacle and solution. The pursuers advanced, but Alex and Lyra stayed ahead. At one point, they reached a wide street with no cover. Lyra touched Alex's arm gently. "Follow me," she whispered. She extended her hands and a shimmering path of light appeared, bending reality just enough to hide them from view. They ran across the street, unseen, hearts pounding. Finally, they reached an abandoned warehouse. Inside, Alex quickly barricaded the doors. They were safe for now. Lyra collapsed into a corner, her glow soft but steady. Alex sat next to her, catching his breath. "You were amazing," he said quietly. "I don't know how we would have survived without you." She looked at him, her eyes reflecting gratitude and something deeper. Trust, respect, and perhaps the beginnings of friendship that went beyond their differences. "Together, strong," she said simply. Alex smiled. "Yeah, together strong." The night passed slowly. Outside, the city hummed, unaware of the two fugitives hiding within the warehouse. Alex and Lyra planned their next steps, knowing that Lyra could never return to her old life and he could never let her go. They would need to find allies, learn more about the pursuers, and perhaps even discover the extent of Lyra's abilities. In the following days, Alex taught Lyra human survival skills, using engineering, quick thinking, and intuition to enhance their safety. In turn, Lyra taught Alex about her people, their technology, and their understanding of the universe. He marveled at her knowledge, realizing how much humans still had to learn. One afternoon, while repairing a damaged communication device, Lyra touched Alex's hand lightly. Her glow spread through the metal and the device hummed to life. Alex stared in amazement. "You fixed it." "That's incredible." Lyra nodded, a faint smile on her lips. "Together, human, alien, achieve." Alex laughed softly. "Yeah, together." As the days turned into weeks, they built a small life amidst the chaos. They found safe places to rest, sources of food, and ways to stay hidden from the pursuers. But more importantly, they grew to rely on each other, not just for survival, but for understanding and companionship. One night, as they sat together under the stars, Lyra whispered, "Alex, why do I care so much?" He looked at her, thinking carefully. "Because helping someone in need, it changes you. You showed me that humans can be more than just strong or smart. We can care, we can trust, and we can face the impossible together." Lyra's glow pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. She leaned slightly closer, her trust in him complete. "Thank Alex, safe. You." The distant hum of the city, the stars above, and the quiet bond between them created a moment of peace neither had known before. For the first time since Lyra had fled her homeworld, she felt truly safe. And for Alex, the human engineer who had only wanted to help a hungry, homeless alien, life had changed forever. Their adventure was far from over. The pursuers were still out there, and the universe was vast and unpredictable. But together they were strong. Together, they had found hope in a world that often seemed cruel and indifferent. And as they looked at the city, bathed in the glow of neon lights and distant stars, both knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side. Because sometimes a simple act of kindness, offering food, offering shelter, could change not just one life but two, and perhaps even the course of the universe itself.